Welcome back, and welcome to session 7. Can you believe it? This course is going so fast. Where's it gone? You're doing great. This is definitely a key moment in the program to double down on your efforts. You have a range of amazingly powerful methods you're working with at this point. This session will last for an entire week, and during it, you'll continue to do the group awareness exercise and this session's version of the eraser exercise. And of course, you should be keeping up with your morning and evening exercises. Remember, do not let those get stale. Don't keep doing the same thing for exercises like gratitude and forgiveness. It's important to follow the original instructions I gave you so that these are kept fresh and work optimally. You'll also continue to do the Lester Love technique if that's something that you've chosen to incorporate into the program. I hope it is, because it's an amazing and incredibly powerful and transformative method. And remember, you can go back and use one or more of the one-off positive psychology exercises whenever you feel you might need a little well-being booster. Begin this session by doing at least 4 eraser exercise sessions using the current version. You should also do at least 2 live group awareness sessions. 4 required eraser exercise sessions potentially leaves 3 open 1-hour meditation sessions. So what should you do during these? Well, you should use these for whatever you think will work best for you. If it's more of the current eraser exercise, that's great. If it's a previous form of the eraser exercise, that's fine too. If it's more group awareness exercises, that's also fine. You just need to make sure that you're doing at least 1 solid hour of practice per day and a minimum of 2 group awareness sessions on top of that this week. At this point, quite a few people have transitioned, progressed further on the continuum, and so on, which is great. If you haven't transitioned yet, there's a few things for you to consider. First, sometimes folks come into the program with very specific ideas about what the best forms of fundamental well-being are, or even what are and aren't legitimate forms of fundamental well-being. Well, during phase 1 of the research, this fascinated me. Even when there wasn't some kind of dogmatic belief involved, I'd often find people had these kinds of thoughts. For example, I remember sitting with someone who was in location 2 who felt that location 1 really shouldn't be counted as being in fundamental well-being because it lacked some of the key elements of her experience. Well, I brought up that many people in location 4 would say the same thing about her location 2 experience because it lacked their location 4 elements. It often took comparisons like this to help people loosen their views away from privileging either their own experiences versus those of others or ideas that they'd absorbed about what was true or right or correct. Now, this matters a great deal because once you transition to fundamental well-being, the best thing you can do is sink into it. You really want to privilege and prioritize it so that you lock it in as much as possible. In those early moments of fundamental well-being for you, those early days and weeks and months, your brain is still heavily wired and weighted in the direction of your former sense of self. You want to be diligent in communicating that this new form is what you want now and moving forward in your life. If you don't acknowledge your own transition for whatever reason, you deny yourself this opportunity. In doing so, you make it much more likely that what you experience will be temporary from a fundamental well-being standpoint when it could have been persistent. I've seen this again and again over our many years of research. There's something else that often seems to begin about this point in the program for people who haven't transitioned yet. Some start thinking about how much of the course they've done, and they start to get increasingly attached to transitioning to fundamental well-being during the program. It's almost as if each passing week increases the pressure if they feel that they haven't felt like they've made enough progress towards their goal or aren't making enough progress or whatever. Now, that's perfectly understandable, but ironically, also in the opposite direction of what is likely needed to transition. In our research, we did see a small minority of individuals who almost singularly willed themselves into fundamental well-being. They were focused and obsessed about it so much until one day it happened for them. However, the vast majority of people have success from the exact opposite type of thing. Rather than obsessing, they release on it. In fact, I had many research subjects openly wonder if they'd done years of intense meditation practice just so that they could reach the point where their mind finally gave up on the possibility of them ever being able to reach fundamental well-being. And guess what? That's when it happened. During this course, it's a good idea for you to try your best to reach a point of acceptance where you're fine if it happens and fine if it doesn't. You're certainly and clearly here doing the exercises in the expectation that there is a better than average chance that fundamental well-being will occur for you. But maybe it won't. Although you want to consistently communicate to your brain that you want it to happen, it's also important to adopt the attitude that if it doesn't happen, that's okay too. In other words, to hold it relatively lightly in terms of an outcome. Have an intent in the direction of it, but to hold the outcome lightly. Now, there are all sorts of self-help techniques that you can use to produce that type of release. Some will work better for you than others because it depends on your specific psychology. I've put some links to more information about these on this page. There's something I think will help you generally relax about this. Keep in mind that the protocol we're using here is a matching game, and that many of the most hardcore methods are yet to come. Even if you've only got 1 week left in the program, frankly, your odds of transitioning to fundamental well-being are probably about the same as they were when you started the course, because the final method has as much a chance of transitioning you than the first method in the program did. The odds are that you will transition during the program at some point. You just need to relax, find the method that works for you, sink in when it starts to give you the glimpses that you need, and let it happen. Okay, that's it for this session's introduction. Let's move on to your eraser exercise update. I'll see you in the next video.